Here's an introduction to consecutive integer problems. These should be taped in your spiral, and I'm going to go through this and we'll do some practice problems in a few minutes. These are consecutive integer problems. Consecutive means in a row. Sometimes word problems will refer to consecutive integers or consecutive numbers. As examples, 5, 6, and 7, and 23, 24, and 25 are two sets of consecutive integers. Whatever the first integer may be, you have to add 1 to it to get the second one, and then you have to add 2 to it to get to the first integer to get the third integer. In general, we're going to do let statements. So we're going to say let x equal the first integer. The second integer would be x plus 1, and the third integer would be x plus 2. And you can take a look at 5, 6, and 7 to get that understanding of why. So if you have let x equal the first integer, 5, the second integer is 6, which means the second has to be x plus 1. And that's the second integer. Because if the first is 5, adding 1 to it gets you the second. Going back to x plus 2 will have to be the third, because if x, which is the first, is 5, adding 2 to it will get you 7. Examples of consecutive odd integers would be 7, 9, 11, or 29, 31, and 33. Now, keeping in mind again, let x equal the first. So if you had 7, 9, and 11, if x is 7, that's the first one, how are you going to get to 9 relative to the 7? You have to add 2. So that's why you have x plus 2 would be the second integer. Going back to the x again, everything is framed in terms of x. X is 7. To get to 11, you have to add 4. So the third integer would be x plus 4. The same thing would go for consecutive evens. 6, 8, and 10, you're going to be adding 2 to the 6 to get 8, and 4 to the 6 to get 10. Jumping down to the example here. So we're down here. Find two consecutive integers whose sum is 75. Let x equal the first integer. Let x plus 1 equal the second integer. So here we have sum. So we're going to take the first integer, which is x. There it is. Well, not circled all that well, sorry. And then we're going to add the second integer to it. So we have x plus 1 is 75. Combine like terms, 2x plus 1 is 75. Subtract 1 from both sides, 2x is 74. Divide both sides by 2, x is 37. And so we have x equaling 37. So now we know that 37 is the first integer. Add 1 to it, you get 38. It's not a bad idea to do that check. 37 plus 38 is 75, and that's what we were looking for. Let's take a look at this second page. I apologize because I don't have my stylus, so my handwriting for example 3 will be a little messy. Find 3 consecutive even integers whose sum is 78. So here's even. So we are going to have let x equal the first, x plus 2 is the second, and x plus 4 is the third. So now the sum means that we're going to be adding them all together. So the first is x, and we're adding x plus 2, and then we're adding x plus 4. And that sum is totaling 78. Adding up the 3 x's, we get 3x plus 2 plus 4 is 6 equals 78. Subtract 6 from both sides, 3x is 72. Dividing both sides by 3, x is 24. So that's our first integer, is 24. And therefore, if you add 2, you will get 26, and then you will get 28. And if you add all 3 of them up, you will get 78 for your sum. So let's take a look at example 3. Find 3 consecutive odd integers whose sum is 123. Just because it's odd doesn't change the way we do this if it's even. So we still have let x equal the first integer. What will be the second integer? Go ahead and fill this in. It will be x plus 2. And the third integer would be x plus 4. So if your numbers, you can just put in numbers to help you with those let statements. 1, 3, 5. 1 plus 2 is 3, gets you to the 3, and 1 plus 4 gets you to the 5. It doesn't matter if they're even integers or odd integers, you're still going to be adding 2 and 4 for those consecutive problems. So now, because we have a sum of 123, we need to add all of these together. So we have x, which is the first integer, and then we are going to add to it that second integer, which is x plus 2, and then we're going to add the x plus 4, which is the third integer. So this is your first, your second, and your third. And that sum is 123. So go ahead and total, you end up with 3x plus 6 is 123. Subtract 6 from both sides. 3x is 117. 7 plus 1 is 9. 9 can be divided by 3, therefore we know we're on the right track. 117 divided by 3 is 39. So the first is 39, the second is 41, and the third is 43. And if you add all those up, you will end up getting 123. I'd like you to do numbers 1, 2, and 3 down at the bottom, and then you will enter in your answers on the answer key.